Welcome to another exciting and informative episode of the Entreprenudist Podcast, the place to hear real entrepreneurs and business owners bear it all. And I do have another business owner on the podcast today that we're going to get into it with. But before we do, I want to remind you that this episode is brought to you by Shield Wolf Strongholds, a wealth growth and protection company. When it comes to estate planning, when it comes to retirement planning, when it comes to employee benefits, when it comes to life insurance, if your plan ain't Shield Wolf, your plan ain't strong. If you are a business owner that wants you and your employees to retire higher than you would have prior, make sure you visit shieldwolfstrong.com or call or text +1 904 822 4262. Now to our guests. Ron Reich has 32 years of training and development and consulting experience. His background is broad, based on having worked for some of the major organizations such as Toshiba, the Chubb Corporation, and several pharmaceutical companies. He's done consulting work in many industries, including medical, assisted living facilities, manufacturing, high tech, retail, pharmaceuticals, and banking. The majority of his work through these years has focused on leadership, management development, along with corporate training, organizational development, and coaching at all levels. An avid reader, Ron has reached over 400 leadership and management has read over four. I'm sure he reached them as well, but he has read over 400 leadership and management books over the years and loves to share the latest thoughts and philosophies about these topics with the group with whom he works. Ron's philosophy about leadership is quite simple. It's about leaders, colleagues, and how the leader can help them get where the team needs to go by building long-lasting and sustainable relationships. Ron believes no one graduates from leadership school. Every leader needs to be a work in progress, always learning and growing. Ron Reich, welcome to the Entreprenudist Podcast.
Thank you, Randolph. It's really nice to be here. I appreciate that.
Oh, yeah, no problem. Is there nothing that you know now that you wish you knew when you first started?
I wish I knew then one of the most important things I needed to do or could have done, and one of the most important things anybody can do at any single level if you want to succeed, get to know yourself really, really, really well. And I wish I knew myself. I wish I had known myself better much, much earlier in my career. And, and again, I'm not going to sit here and say, oh, it would have made such a difference, because things happen the way they're supposed to, as I believe it. Regardless, I wish I would have just known myself better, and I could have adapted maybe more effectively to certain situations.
Oh, yeah. You wish you knew yourself better. But just like anything else, the more you know, the more you know, the more you don't know. Right.
That's right.
One of those old sayings is know thyself. It's a book that I got from my granddaddy a while back ago. It's called Psychopictography by Vernon Howard. And one of the things that he talks about is know thyself. But he also says, when you begin this process of knowing yourself, also understand everything about yourself has been acquired. The way you talk, the way you believe, religious wise, professionally, politically, all of that has been acquired. And so as you begin to know yourself, understand that these things that you've acquired are just like clothes. And just like you put clothes on, don't feel ashamed to take these clothes off.
That's right. That's exactly right. And I mean, for me, it makes me think instantly, Randolph, of what you said in the opening, where, I'm always trying to learn. I'm always trying to grow and develop, learn more about myself, because again, it's exactly like what you're saying, is the more layers I can peel off of myself, then the more effectively I can work with other people. And again, there's nothing wrong with that. With, like you said, taking these particular clothes off, they don't fit me any longer. And there's nothing wrong with that.
Absolutely. Even another one of my favorite authors, Og Mandino, he says experience is comparable to fashion. What's workable in one facet is no longer workable in another. And he said, even though experience is a great teacher, it devours your time. The time that it takes to learn from experience devours your time. And I know you work with a lot of leaders who are very experienced, and a lot of their clothes almost seem as if it's sewn into their skin, metaphorically speaking. What are some of the biggest challenges that leaders are facing that you're working with?
Randolph, it's interesting because your comment there is to me, is one of the biggest issues leaders have today, in that I don't have time. We're too busy to get into this. No. I'm fine. I don't need any development. They're the ones that need the development. And I mean, that's all well and good, except if you don't start at the top with any, particularly with a mid-size or small firm, any training or development initiative is probably not going to go real well.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
All right, let me rephrase that. I shouldn't say not going to go well. I'll take that back and I'll say it won't have long-lasting effects because the leadership is not bought into it.
Oh yeah, I mean it's very easy to blame everything on external factors. As in a lead for a leader, those external factors are that leader's employees. But it sounds like what you're saying is when you work with people, one of the first things that you get them to first assumptions that you get them to drop is that it has nothing to do with them. It might even have everything to do with them.
That's right. That's exactly right. I mean, I was talking to a couple of senior executives at a food company here in New Jersey, where I'm from. Excuse me. And they were saying, "Oh, we need management training. Definitely, we need management training." And they're taking me through what was going on and so forth. And we're a family-owned company. We've been around for 55 years. And I was like, okay, yeah, you know what? I agree. I think you need management training. Except before you do anything else, you need to develop a formal culture. Because if you do any management training, you're going to pay a lot of money for it, and it's going to do you no good. And you could see they were surprised. And I was like, guys, listen to what you're saying is that people are running around doing anything they want. There are no standards in place. There are no expectations in place. All of these different things. You've got to develop a formal culture first. Then we can start with the actual training itself. And that's what we did. And I've been doing that kind of work for a number of years now with different clients. And I'll tell you what a difference it's made.
So is that what culture is? Standards and expectations, or is that an oversimplification, or is it just that simple?
No, it's not that simple. I mean, a formal culture needs to have a well-written mission statement that everybody in the organization knows what it is. It's meaningful to them. The organization needs to have certain values that the organization itself defines. I mean, I bet, Randolph, I mean, I'd have to think about it, whatever. I bet you there are 95% of the organizations out there. We have a mission statement, yes, and we have values. How many of the people know the mission statement? How many of the people know what the values are? And how many of the people live the values or apply the values at work? And then that percentage will probably shoot down to about 5%.
Oh, yeah, I know what you're saying. Because a lot of times, especially if you have a business coach or eventually get a business coach, you end up coming up with your core values. You end up coming up with your mission statements. You end up coming up with your unique offerings and your patented process. But which what it seems like what you're saying is one thing to have it written down in a dusty book. It's another thing to make sure that all of the employees in every level actually know those documents, those words, those statements, and then live by it.
That's right. They live by it. They work by it. They talk about the values during conversations. It's like we're not being, we're not showing integrity here. How are we being dependable? And I'm just taking as sample values here. That's when those kinds of when the values are being embedded into the conversations, people are living it.
So are you saying, like, as the leader, you're overhearing that these values are embedded?
That's exactly right. That's exactly right. And the leader himself or herself needs to be talking about the values on a daily basis. And the mission statement and the values, just everything like that. Absolutely. And I mean, any mission statement needs to be the guiding light for an organization as it makes decisions. Is that, are we following our mission here? Are we living our values as we consider making this decision? And again, that's how organizations, in my opinion, become sustainable. That's how how they can be or just have long-term success.
Oh yeah, actually having a mission statement that you believe in and looking at it every day does make decisions very easy.
That's right.
When you're thinking about what you plan on doing, what's our 1-year picture, 3-year picture, 5-year picture, even 10-year picture. If you look at your mission statement and it aligns, those decisions that you're considering aligns, it makes it very easy. And it seems like also, because like we just said, the more you know, the more you know, the more you don't know. Just like an individual can learn more things about themselves and decide that these garments, what I once believed I must take off. It seems like if you're noticing that a lot of your decisions don't line up with that mission statement that you first created when you started, that it's probably okay to change your mission statement as well.
Yeah, absolutely. As the organization evolves and things change, that you may need to modify that. Absolutely. And, I think, the other thing that you're touching on, at least for me here, Randolph, is also that as organizations do this, it's happened recently with me and a couple of my clients where, I have told senior leaders, you want to do this. And I absolutely think it's the right thing to do. You need to be ready to lose some employees who are not going to buy into this. It's like, I don't want to see this change. I like the way things are. And you're also going to need to be ready to fire certain people who won't buy into it. And I have a client in the Midwest who, had said to me, he goes, I don't know if I can fire these people. And I was like, you're going to need to, Jeff. Otherwise, what's the message you're sending? And I give him a lot of credit because he did do it. He did do it.
Oh yeah, it can essentially poison the well.
That's right.
If you go and do things to put into place and make these guarantees, especially after if it's something that you're implementing after everybody has already got a feeling of, all right, this is how we operate. It's loose over here. But right. now you're implementing some guidelines. If everybody doesn't buy into it, the people who bought into it initially might then fade away from it if they see that you're not really taking it seriously as a leader.
That's exactly right. Yep.
Yeah, I know another one of my favorite books is called Traction by Gino Wickman. He calls it the EOS, the Entrepreneurial Operating System. And one of the benefits that he says comes from having your core values is when you are hiring and firing based off of your core values,
right.
If and when you have somebody that's not doing their job correctly, like meaning that they're not living up to what you think they should be hitting, their KPIs, their key performance indicators with their job, but they still match up with the company's core values, you may be better off not firing them, but just moving them to another position.
Exactly. That's exactly it. And I'm totally on board with you, or maybe they need some coaching or some additional skill training to get up to speed with the KPIs. Because when you have people that have bought into the culture and are living the values, those are the types of individuals, man, I want to hang on to them. Those are the ones I want to keep.
Let's say I believe that my employees and my management team are living up to the core values. However, they seem disengaged. How do you help leaders keep their employees and management interested in their jobs?
To me, there are a number of different ways. And, Randolph, you made the comment very early when we started chatting, is it that simple? There are a couple ways for me that are not real complicated to keep employees engaged. Number one of the biggest reasons people become unhappy at work. Actually, you know what? I'm not going to tell you. Let me ask you, what do you think are the major reasons employees become unhappy at work across the United States, across industry? Just off the top of your head.
Well, I would say what they say is low pay.
That's what they say. Actually, salary is pretty far down the list.
Yeah, that's what they say.
Most of them I've seen, 7th or 8th. The number one reason people become unhappy at work is their relationship with their manager. Number 2, their relationship with their coworkers and their colleagues. Number 3, a lack of recognition and a lack of respect. Point being here, this is the real key point, that there's no separation between those 3 things. Meaning, people become unhappy with their boss because the boss is not providing enough recognition or enough respect to his or her direct reports, and people become disengaged. And it's the same thing with colleagues. There's just not enough respect going on amongst coworkers or enough recognition, and people become unhappy, people become disengaged. So finding out how people like to be recognized, what's important to them, is critical. Hand in hand with that, I recommend 3 very, very simple questions. And there's a little bit of overlap here. Asking people maybe once a year, maybe twice a year, what do you love about your job? Just tell me, what are you passionate about? What do you love? You find that out. What frustrates you about the team? And then you're finding out, okay, fine. Maybe there are some behavioral issues. Maybe there's some procedural issues, whatever it might be. And then thirdly, and this is what we just talked about, how do you like to be recognized? And then just that simple for me is a good way to find out how engaged people are and to keep them engaged.
Oh yeah, and that's why when you asked me that question, I said they say pay, because I agree that pay is pretty low when in the grand scheme of things. The things that you mentioned are very, very important, more important. But it's easy to ask those questions as a leader. But let's say I'm a leader, and it seems like my team is being hesitant to tell me the truth. I can ask them these questions, but I didn't get here by accident. I understand that 90% of all communication is that body language. And I can tell, or it seems very likely that they're not telling me the truth. What are some options for leaders who feel like that?
One of the ways that I always recommend too is just number one, you need to create that psychologically safe environment right from the get-go. People need to feel included. You need to include people in decision making. You need to include people in meetings. And not even necessarily that when I say include them in decision making, just being at the table And as an example here, Randolph, I want you to come to this particular meeting. You probably won't have much to say. That's okay, because I just want you there so you can get an understanding of how things go here or how we do things here. And then you need to be at the second level of psychological safety is about learning. So I need to allow you to learn and grow and find out, what is it you're looking to do? What is it you want to learn? And allow you to learn and allow you to ask a lot of questions to make mistakes. And mistakes are not, you're not going to get your head torn off when you make a mistake. It's like, okay, let's talk about it. What happened? And then finally, you can start to contribute, which is the third level of psychological safety. Contribute in meetings, contributing your thoughts. And fourth is challenge, i.e., Randolph, I don't think this is a good idea. I don't think we're ready to launch this product. And my point is simply what I'm trying to say is you need to have that psychologically safe environment for people to give you honest responses. Ron, what frustrates you about the team? Nothing. I love it here. You know what? I'm sorry. That's just not true. There's got to be something there.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. Oh, and definitely, because what you're saying, I can see bringing people in the process of the creation process, the innovation process. Just like you said, a lot of times that person may or may not contribute anything, but the fact that you invited them, it's like somebody, it's like getting invited to a birthday party at the last minute. You like, hold on, I was an afterthought, but when you invite somebody ahead of time, all right, we're having a party in a couple weeks. Even if you're not the personality type that likes to be in social settings like that, for the simple fact that you were invited, it keeps you having a good feeling about those people.
That's right. And it goes back to, again, building, maintaining, and sustaining the relationships that we were talking about earlier.
Yes, sir. So there is a such thing as healthy competition, right? And if you have a good environment where the core values are in the forefront, the mission statement is in the forefront, you're inviting people to these meetings, they feel like they're a part of the growth. There is a such thing as healthy competition, but I'm assuming there's also a such thing as toxic competition. How do you get people to work together and not compete against each other to a fault?
I'll go back to, I think the mission statement is a big part of that. Relative to this is our overarching goal. This is what this organization is all about. Secondly, I'm a big believer in Stephen Covey's work and the 7 Habits of Highly Effective People. He talks about something called in Habit 4, the abundance mentality. And what he talks about there is that there's plenty out there for everybody. There's plenty of promotions out there for everybody. There's plenty of recognition out there for everybody. You and I don't need to compete for, I want the manager's job. Whoa, so does Randolph. So I'm going to beat him out and I'm going to make him look bad. There's plenty out there for everybody, and that's the kind of environment you want to create. And I understand there is going to be competition. It's impossible for there not to be. How can you prevent it from becoming toxic? Making sure you're recognizing the people, letting them know that there are other opportunities out there as well. And when before I started my business, Randolph, there were times I needed to tell good employees, you know what, you're not getting this particular job. I'm really sorry. I know how disappointed you are. And they'll say, Ron, I'm going to leave. I'm leaving the organization because of this. If that's what you decide to do, I would hate to lose you. If you think that's what's necessary for you to meet your own goals, I will be the first person to shake your hand. And I mean that. I absolutely mean that, because you're not going to be able to keep everybody, and you can't keep everybody happy at all times. You can't. It's impossible.
Mm. Oh yeah, the best way to love is by making someone feel free, free to
Right.
leave, free to come, right? But it's it's easier said than done, right? To be in that
Oh,
scenario.
absolutely. No doubt. I mean, that's a challenge. There's just no two ways about that. And that's part of being a leader too. I mean, I think back when I worked at Toshiba. Tony Codiani, who's gone now. Tony was the director of training when I was there, and he used to say all the time, when we were doing leadership classes or whatever it was, he goes, folks, you need to think long and hard about, do you really want to do this or not? Because you have people's lives in your hands. And if you're not willing to make those tough decisions, don't get into this. And I always
Mm.
remembered that. That's true.
Oh man, so just extreme honesty to your team.
Yeah,
Tell them what it is. Don't sugarcoat it. Give
right,
it to them straight up.
right.
All right, so I'm a leader. I listened to Ron. My mission statement is cool. My core values are cool. My team feels open to share their true feelings with me, but I'm always so busy. How do they know if they're not just doing busy work and not and actually doing leadership work? How do they know that they're using their time effectively?
I'll go back to Stephen Covey again. Stephen Covey's habit number 3, put first things first, is all about using your time most effectively and prioritizing the most important things you need to do every single week. And the key there is, every week you need to prioritize your schedule, both personally and professionally, allowing for some balance in there. And then the other big thing for me, and I like to talk about this with classes that I do with individual clients, whatever. There are 4 key traits that leaders need to possess if they're going to be successful. They need to be visible, approachable, connected, and consistent. And the visibility piece, meaning, and this is a big one with what you were just saying, Randolph, at least for me, is that just walking around the building, talking to people. How are things going? What's new with your family? What movies have you seen? What's the latest with the new client we just got? All of these things, maintaining the relationships and just letting people know, I'm here for you. I'm here for you. And again, I'll share a story because I thought it was so meaningful. My wife's cousin, Gerald, is one of the top people at the FDA in Washington. And I met him, I don't know, 6, 7 years ago, whatever, it doesn't matter. We were just chatting. And he said to me, Ron, he said, do you know what I love to do at work? And I was like, what, Gerald? And this is totally unscripted. He was like, I love to walk around. And I'm thinking to myself, oh, Gerald, please keep going. This is going to be a great story. He said, I love to walk around. And I said, well, what do you do when you walk around? I talk to people and I learn all about them. I learn what's going on in their lives. I learn about the projects that they're working on, what's going well, what their struggles are, all of these things. And the point he made at the end, I thought was so incredibly insightful, because he said to me, you know what my goal is when someone sees me coming down the hall, Ron? And I was like, what, Gerald? I want them to think, oh, here comes Gerald. Not, oh my God, here comes the, senior executive director of, whatever. Look busy. It's like, no, here comes Gerald, the nice guy who spends time with us, who cares about us, and who helps us be successful.
That is, it's all about you. You don't want people to sigh when they see you turning the corner. You want people
Right.
to,
Oh, no.
yeah, because people often forget what you tell them, but they always remember how you made them feel.
Right. That's right.
Okay, so I'm making people feel great, right? I'm doing all the stuff that Ron Reich taught me to do. But another one of my favorite quotes from Og Mandino is only an inferior man can always perform at his best.
Sure.
So as a leader, how do I make consistent decisions that are in the best interest of my company?
It goes back to the mission statement again, relative to making decisions. Is this consistent with our mission statement? And if the answer is yes, wonderful. If it's not, then it's like, okay, we need to revisit this. And I'll also work off of your comment too, because an inferior man, talking about, no one is perfect. I don't care what kind of performer you are, no one's perfect. And my point being that leaders need to be comfortable giving behavioral feedback to anybody with whom they work. And that is a balance of reinforcement feedback, making people, helping people understand, hey, you're doing a great job with your presentations. I love how you're not referring to your notes that much any longer. And also a good amount of developmental feedback so that they are going to grow and that they are going to develop. I said, here's something you need to refine, or I've noticed you've been coming late to meetings lately. That's just not going to work, Randolph, for a couple of different reasons here. Number one, it makes everybody look bad, and whatever it might be. Just point is, people need to be able to give balanced behavioral feedback.
Absolutely. and I know you're a reader, so let's say that somebody either they can't get to you, they can't afford you. What books should they be reading until your schedule opens up?
Oh, I think one of the best books, based on what we've been talking about here, is called Leading at a Higher Level. And it's written by Ken Blanchard, who helped to design situational leadership. And it's an excellent book because it talks all about how to give feedback, how to delegate, how to coach, when to delegate, when to coach, and those types of things. He talks a lot about recognition in there, and that's really good. For some of the more seasoned leaders out there, another excellent book that I like is called Leadership is Language. And that's written by a guy named David Marquet. I think it's Marquit, something like that, former naval officer. And he talks so much in the book about the best leaders should not be talking very much at all. You should be doing very, very little talking. You need to be doing the listening. And he also he provides some excellent questions to ask people. So those are two quick ones.
Oh yeah, questions are very, very powerful. And you've shared a lot of great insight to the Entreprenudist audience. Is there not a question that I did not ask you that maybe I should have?
Oh, no, I don't think so. I think we've hit the major points. I think it's been fun.
Oh yeah, absolutely. It really has been fun. Ron, one more time, let everybody know who you are, what do you do, and how they can get in touch.
Yeah, I mean, essentially what I do, and my mission statement, I help small and mid-sized firms be as effective as they can be through education, by providing education, training, and coaching to people at all different levels. And the best way to reach me is through LinkedIn. Right in the show notes there. And please, anybody that's interested, I welcome the opportunity, even just to talk. And I'm not saying if you want to just chat, and I can give you a different book recommendation, perhaps, or some different tools, perhaps. And again, if we end up working together, wonderful. If not, I'm okay with that because, again, I'm out to help organizations. I'm out to help people. That's my mission.
Man, that is Ron's mission. And this has been another exciting and informative episode of the Entreprenudist Podcast, the place to hear real entrepreneurs and business owners bear it all. I am your host, Randolph Love III. If you are listening to our voices on the audio platforms, make sure you check out the show notes. You will see more information about Ron. You'll also see a link to where you can watch the video of this conversation, and you can watch our handsome and immaculate ebony and ivory faces in your places. All right. Until next time, don't play with it. Stay with it until you make pay with it. This is the Entreprenudist Podcast, signing off.